Hey good people, Batavia here. We have frost coming. We're going to do our final full garden tour before the frost. See you in a few. Okie doke, quick housekeeping items. Thank you to those who like, watch, subscribe, comment, and share Be Better Garden. We appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed already, consider it. There's a button below. And if you hit the notification bell, you'll be alerted each time I share more #GardenJoy. Second, it's chilly. The weather is getting colder. I'm in Chicago, Zone 6A, and that first frost is coming as scheduled next week. So we got some work to do out here. Third, and most importantly, happy birthday again to my mom. She has turned the tender age of 16 once again. I spoke to her this morning, and when I told her what I had planned for the weekend, she ended up calling me back later on like, do you need some help? And I told her, really appreciate it, super duper sweet, but I think I got it under control. So anywho, that's what I got, and we're gonna go ahead and dig in. Alrighty, so bed number 1 had cucumbers most of the summer, which did well. We still have our peppers here, and anything that's sensitive to frost, that's not cold tolerant, I'll be pulling out this weekend. I have in this bed a couple of bell peppers that are still on the plant. We'll just call those baby bell peppers and pull those. We have some cayenne peppers here. All of the jalapeno peppers that did so well this season. Gonna come in and pull these off. Behind or in the inside of the bed were where my melons were. You can see all of those vines have mostly died off. I have a couple that I'm gonna just cut off and cut open and see what happens. My sweet potatoes I harvested last weekend. More to come on that. Then we have more melons on this side. I think we may even get one more ripe honeydew. So we'll see how that one turns out. Then we have more peppers, but these are sweet peppers. So they're bell peppers here and here. Behind it was or is the stray cat. You see her peeking her head out? Nope. Don't have anything for you. Behind it was the green zebra tomato. And the jury's out on how and why and if I'll plant that next year. My okra, I'm hopefully letting go to seed. So I've stopped picking it. Those are beds 1, 2, and 3. These beds have been cleared for quite a while. The Russian kale still kicking butt. This should be fine with the frost. We'll see. And then I had that one lonely bell pepper that was kind of hidden by everything else. So we'll take those couple of peppers off the plants. I don't think that I'm going to pull up everything this weekend. We're going to walk to the back. I'll take the fruit and the veggies off the plants, but I'm going to leave most of the plants in the ground until I have a bit more time. So in the backyard, it's kind of half and half. There's a bunch of summer stuff still here. In the cage baby, I still have almost all of the tomato plants I started with back in June. But again, all of that fruit's going to come off the plants. We still have some bell peppers that are in here. They're technically 3 raised beds. So this is like 7 by 4. There's a little walkway there. Then that one is 12 by 4, and then the bed on the end is another 7 by 4. So these green tomatoes, the Roma tomatoes, have done so well, and I'm going to pull all of them off and hope that most of them ripen indoors. We'll see. And there's been progress with the winter squash, so it's going to have to come off the vine, and I'll talk a little bit more about kind of what I'm expecting from it. Same thing here. It's just the powdery mildew. I just didn't do anything with it, and it just took over the plant. This bed still has more peppers, and check this out. I may have the one and only carrot. Forgive that squash that is rotten, but the one and only carrot right there that may come up, which I'm kind of excited. This is like the third year I've tried to grow carrots. More peppers. Strawberry bed will be put to bed. So then we have this lettuce. So the arugula here. And then this is meant to be, or said to be, cold tolerant. So I'm going to decide in the next day or so if I'm going to leave this out. But I'm definitely going to put this lettuce here. It looks beautiful, doesn't it? I'm going to put this romaine, the container, in the garage kind of overnight. And the same thing for the arugula. And we may leave this out. We'll see. Coming over. So we've showed this bed a lot lately, and it has some things have been planted like since the summer. Some failed spinach in those rows there. That's where I'm thinking that maybe I'll even put some of the containers inside of here, because I may cover this bed with plastic. That's what I built these hoops for last year. I'll probably harvest some of the larger leaves to make sure that they're not touching the plastic. I don't know that it's going to stay that cold, so this may be something I'm pulling off during the day for these next couple of nights where it gets kind of down to, you know, those freezing temps. You know, even this tattered lettuce, or the tattered dinosaur kale, it's gotten eaten up a little bit. I'll probably harvest what's edible and get this plant a little bit smaller. No sense in saving these leaves. But yeah, the chard in general, I don't know that it's really cold tolerant. I remember it last year. The plant it died back, but the roots are still alive because it came back in the spring. But I always forget to talk about the rosemary. So this rosemary is huge. Well, one more leaf. This rosemary is huge, and I planted it. It was a purchase transplant last year, and I planted it. This bed was covered in plastic almost all of last year, and I think that's the reason why it came back. I know that I've read rosemary is a perennial, but I'm not convinced if I would have left it uncovered into the elements that it would have sprung back. So we'll probably never know, because I don't know if I want to test that. The collard green bed, we'll leave this just as is. It'll do just fine with the frost. We may even determine whether or not they truly are sweeter once they're kissed with frost, as they say. Let's see, these peppers that are left, and I did mention there are a bunch of peppers that are in the cage baby. Yeah, so there's some hot peppers on one end, there's some bell peppers, but we're going to pull all of that off of the plant. Some additional peppers that I had in containers. I was just sharing this on Instagram this week about how the cabbage moth has basically just, you know, the worms have, look at that, have just eaten away at these leaves. The same thing for, I'm pretty certain this is pak choi versus bok choy, but either way it's eaten away at that. And these have been covered since I planted them mid-September. I transplanted them, and they've done just fine. So really tells the difference in kind of my preference of covering plants versus I didn't with these plants. So yeah, let's see, this Claytonia and Mach in the middle. Claytonia I've read, it's my first time growing it, but I read it's cold tolerant, so I'm going to leave it as is. This is another one that I will either move into the garage, or I will put into that one bed that I'm going to cover with plastic. I hadn't talked about it much of the summer, but I have some house plants out here, or plants that I had in the house, and they have done okay. This banana plant, it I think maybe had too much sun, even though this is a pretty shady spot. So I'm going to take everything that's out here and move it in the garage. I think start to repot some things. I'm not certain. I'm going to be careful about what I bring directly into the house. All of this should be overwintered though, so even these peace lilies, they're going to get back into the house. That's where they had been. And then I'm probably just going to dry these herbs, like my parsley and oregano. Some of that looks still healthy. So yeah, well, that's what we got. there are some other flowers that, like the canna leaf that's behind me, that I plan on taking into the garage and overwintering. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started.
Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed, please do subscribe to my channel, like this video, and feel free to comment and share with others. I'll see you all in the next one.